Hello, hello. I am Stephanie Dreyer, a plant-based meal planning expert and the founder of Batch Cooking Club, a weekly vegan meal prep membership that makes dinner easier. This is our live weekly cooking class where we feature a recipe from next week's plan. And today I am demonstrating how to make our mushroom lentil stroganoff. This is a lovely alternative, plant-based alternative to the traditional stroganoff. It's near and dear to my heart because I grew up loving mushroom stroganoff or regular beef stroganoff, and now I get to eat it without any of the meats and without any of the dairy. So I'm super excited to share it with you today. Shout out to everyone who's watching live. Go ahead, drop an emoji or where you're tuning in from so we can see that you're here. If you're watching in replay, drop hashtag replay. We love to connect with you. And feel free to ask any questions as we go along. I also will post the link to the full recipe after, so if you can't get all the ingredients, don't worry, I will link to that. A couple things about this recipe and about our plan. First, while I'm talking, I have 8 ounces of sliced cremini mushrooms is what I used. You could use any favorite. If you like regular button mushrooms, that's fine too. And I also have a garlic clove that's thinly sliced. I'm gonna put this in. I'm using 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm just gonna turn up the heat a little bit. And I also wanted to say, if you're going oil-free, you can always just do this in vegetable broth or water if you want to get rid of the oil. The fat, though, does add a lot of flavor to this dish. So we're just gonna, if you can see here, I'm gonna get those going while I introduce this recipe a little bit. But I just have the onion and the garlic and the mushrooms in there. We're just gonna let those cook for a little bit. And I was gonna say with this recipe, and this is our approach to batch cooking, we love to get you in and out of the kitchen in 2 hours or less on the weekend so that you have 4 dinners prepped for the week. We're not about marathon 5-hour days cooking everything for the week. We give you a few recipes that you can work into your meal plan where you need the help the most. So with this recipe, what we normally do is we give you 4 dinner recipes and then we give you 4 to 6 other recipes to make on the weekend to speed up those dinners. For this recipe in particular, you are going to make mushroom lentil meatballs on the weekend, and then this dish comes together really quickly during the week. You're gonna see how quick this sauce comes together, and I've already boiled the pasta, but while you're boiling the pasta, you can make the sauce, you throw in the meatballs you've already prepped on the weekend, and dinner is ready in just about 20 minutes. So that is our approach to batch cooking. We also like to double and give you more bang for your batch. So this week we are making these mushroom lentil meatballs and we're putting them in the stroganoff, but we're also serving them in mushroom lentil meatball subs with my famous caramelized onion dip. And so you get a completely different meal using something you've already prepped on the weekend. And while I'm at it, I'll just tell you the rest of the menu. We also are serving minestrone soup this weekend and buttered chickpeas and cauliflower with curried quinoa. It's an Indian-inspired dish. As you can see, we tried to mix up the proteins and the types of cuisines so you get a variety of flavors and proteins in your diet. So again, shout out to our members. Anybody who's watching, any shout outs you want to say to? Just a few people?
We have people from California, Washington.
Ooh.
I don't know where Maryland's from. Gail's Redondo Beach.
Wonderful, thank you. I see some of our regulars. I so appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in live, and if you're watching in replay, just so happy to have you here. So I'm going to take you through this recipe. What we're doing right now is we're really just cooking down our mushrooms, and then we're going to make the sauce, and then we're going to add the mushrooms and the meatballs in later. And what I want to tell you is I have a little trick. And these are coming together just great. And you want to make sure these are cooked. They release a lot of water, so I'm not salting them now. You'll see I'm going to add the salt and all of the seasonings later because the mushrooms give off a lot of moisture. But you do want to cook them down because when we add them back in, the dish will be complete. So you want to cook them to the level that you like your mushrooms cooked. Let me tell you about the meatballs. So as I mentioned, on the weekend we're making mushroom lentil meatballs to use in here. Oh, and I should say, I know I love all my members. One of our star members, Jenny, I don't know if she's watching. I believe she has a mushroom allergy or is mushroom averse or some mushroom aversion. You can still use this recipe. I would do zucchini instead of mushrooms. And we have an ingredient substitution guide that we update weekly with our ingredients. So if there is an option that doesn't work for you, we have alternatives, and then you can always reach out to me or in our private member Facebook group, and we brainstorm solutions for you too. So I don't want that to deter anybody if you're not a mushroom lover. I know I have picky eaters in my house, so we try to, again, take the thinking out of what to cook. So, but another alternative too, I have this term I've coined, homemade-ish. So it means you're still making a homemade meal, but you're taking a little help from the store to use either one prepared ingredient or a store-bought ingredient to make it your own. So in this case today, to show you how we can do that, and especially if you're averse to mushrooms or have an allergy, you could use a store-bought meatball, and this actually will speed up your cooking time. It's one less thing that you have to prep on the weekend, leaving you to prep something else for maybe breakfast or lunch instead. And I'm going to turn these off. And this is my meatball of choice, frozen meatball of choice. They're not paying me to say this, I'm just sharing it with you. Now this does have soy and wheat, so if you have soy or wheat allergies, this isn't the meatball for you, but there are a bunch of different ones that you can do. You can also make our mushroom, for our members who are watching, you can also make our mushroom lentil meatballs without the mushrooms and just do a lentil meatball, or you could add in zucchini, for example. So if you want to go this route, you can just have these cooking while you're cooking your pasta. And again, this is a really quick meal to throw together. So my meatballs are already done, so you need that. And as I mentioned, you need some pasta. So I have boiled a pound of rotini pasta over here. That's ready to go. So we are just going to make our sauce right now, and then everything just gets folded into the pan and it's ready to serve. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to bring my mushrooms over here, and we're going to use the same pan. So this is how I like my mushrooms anyway, but you can see they're pretty much caramelized, fully caramelized. They're definitely fully cooked and ready to go. So all they have to do is be folded back into the sauce. So then next we're going to heat up another 2 tablespoons of butter. Again, you can do olive oil or do olive oil. You could do water. What we're doing is we're gonna make a roux. We're gonna take our butter and we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of flour, and we're gonna make a roux, and then we're gonna add in some vegan beef broth and some vegan Worcestershire. Make sure you check your Worcestershire. Some of it has anchovies in it, so you gotta make sure, or fish sauce or something. So make sure you get vegan Worcestershire. And I also have some balsamic vinegar. So once we make our roux, we're gonna stir that in. Then that comes off, and we're gonna add in our vegan sour cream and our seasonings and thin it out a little with some water. And then we're gonna add back in our mushrooms, our meatballs, and our pasta. So let me see, let's get this going here. And now again, if there's any questions, let me know. You can use gluten-free or regular pasta for this. It does not matter. I guess I should be like this. I'm gonna be like that because I'm a lefty. I guess that this would be the better way for me to be showing you. Okay, so I'm gonna add in my flour, and I'm just gonna make, like I said, I'm just making a little roux. You just wanna whisk that all together. I'm gonna lower the heat a little bit. And this is just gonna make it thick. This is gonna make the sauce really thick. The roux, that is. Ooh, and it smells good. I don't know how butter and flour can smell so good, but it does. Oh, and what I was gonna say is, my family is not vegan. So, they happen to love these meatballs though, so I'm good. I can just serve these plant-based meatballs. But if you have a family where, we have a question, hold on one second. We have a family who's trying to, you're trying to accommodate. This is, again, I'm pouring in the beef broth right now. I'm gonna talk about the beef broth in 1 second. If you are, and as you can see, I'm whisking as I'm pouring because you don't want clumpy sauce. Thank you for getting it in there with the camera so people can see. What was I saying? Where was I at? I was talking about there's so many things I want to tell you. If you have a mixed family, you can easily either double up the sauce and split it, or you can do what I'm doing right now, where you're making the sauce, and at the very end, when you add in the meatballs, you can divide the plates and just have 2 different sets of meatballs. So you're only making 1 meal. When I went vegan, my goal, after years of struggling, when I founded this membership, was to take the thinking out of what's for dinner and stop making multiple meals to please everybody. So this is a way you can make this meal work for you, whether you have a 100% plant-based family or not. Let me take that question, and then I will go back and tell you about this beef broth that I used.
Danielle said, what brand's vegan beef stock and Worcestershire, and also what brand pan are you using?
Okay. Oh, this is my Scan pan. I love my Scan pans. They're nonstick, but they don't have the chemicals in it. I highly recommend Scan pans, SCAN. And then Danielle, you just set me up perfectly, because I was just about to talk about the beef broth. I'm gonna pour in the Worcestershire and the balsamic now. Again, I'm just whisking. All I'm doing is whisking. This is the base of the sauce. Okay, so the beef broth, I used Better Than bouillon. It comes in a jar. I should have kept it out so I could show you. It comes in a jar. You know what? After this live, Danny's one of our members. I'll take a picture and I'll post it in our members group so you can see the brand. But it's called Better Than bouillon. They have many different types of vegan stocks, and it's a concentrate. So 1 teaspoon to every 8 ounces of water. But they also sell vegan, and I can see my pinches right here. Do I have it handy? They also sell bouillon cubes. I don't have any handy that I can show you. And any health food store you go to, you'll find alternatives. It has to be in like a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or a Lazy Acres, where they have those alternatives. You can definitely find vegan beef, not stock, but the cubes or the concentrate to make your own. So that is what I use. I like the bouillon, the Better Than bouillon, because I think it has like a heartier taste. And was there another question? That was a question. Okay, and that was perfect, because that's exactly what I wanted to talk. Oh, Worcestershire sauce. So Worcestershire, my favorite is Annie's. Is naturally vegan, and I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to bring it over here, and we're going to add our spices and our sour cream and a little bit of water to thin it out. Annie's is great. I can get that at Whole Foods, in any natural food store. This is mustard, dry mustard, black pepper, sea salt, and thyme. I was like, what am I missing? Thyme, of course, dried thyme. You could also use fresh if you have it. And I'm just whisking, and then I'm gonna put in some vegan sour cream. Oh, and also for the Worcestershire, I know, just go to Whole Foods. They're like on the shelf brand. It's just like it's not Whole Foods brand, but just whatever when they have, it is naturally vegan. It happens to be vegan. But I know like Lee and Perrins, whatever the big brand is at like the Ralph's or the big chain grocery store, is not vegan. That has fish or anchovy in it. So you just have to check. It's not always, but you definitely do not need fish in the Worcestershire. Okay, let's talk sour cream. All right, so I just put in my herbs. I'm gonna stir in some sour cream, and then I'm gonna thin it out with my water. I reserved some pasta water from when I drained my pasta, and I'm gonna use that to thin it out. Okay, all vegan sour creams are not created equally. I highly encourage you to sample and try out different brands. When I went vegan 11 years ago, there was one brand. It was Tofutti, which I love. It was great. But they actually didn't have Tofutti at the store. But I know there have been an influx, there's a burgeoning amount of new brands for dairy-free dairy. And Kite Hill is one of my favorite other brands that I go to. And they have a really nice sour cream. Tofutti has soy in it. This is not soy. This is coconut and almond based. So this, if you don't have a nut allergy, this is a great soy-free alternative to a dairy product. And I'm gonna put 1/3 of a cup in here. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. And I wanna call that out because I recently had somebody reach out to me, and she has all these allergies, and she didn't want to try like all eggs, dairy, like it was screaming vegan diet, but she can't do the soy, she can't do tempeh or tofu. So I was explaining, there's tons of alternatives for tofu There's soy-free tempehs. There's soy-free tofus out there. There's pumfu now with pumpkin seeds. So there's a lot of different options. So don't like limit yourself, you know, explore brands, I guess is what I want to encourage you to do, and find one that works for your allergies or diet and food preferences and meets the flavor profile, because we're so lucky now that we have so many. So I am just whisking this, and you can see, I don't know if you can get in there, this is very thick right now, which is fine, but we you know, stroganoff is more, it's saucy, so we want to thin it out a little bit. So we are going to do that by adding a little bit. I have I have a half a cup of water here, right? But I think it was yeah, that's right. And just going to add a little bit at a time. You may not need all of it. I just kind of eyeball it for the consistency that I like. I don't want it too runny, but this is super super thick. So I'll show you with my little spatula in a second. And then of course you want to taste it. We did add salt, we did add pepper in there with the mustard and the thyme, but you want to taste it and make sure that it is flavored before you add everything in. So this is good. Let me show you here. See that? Oh, I guess we could do. Do you see that? It's like not too runny. And I'm gonna just take my finger. It does not need any salt. So the vinegar, the Worcestershire, the balsamic vinegar, that beef broth is gonna give it kind of that salty taste without adding salt. So, and I'm pretty sure that the beef bouillon has some salt in it. So now I'm second guessing myself. I'm gonna add a little bit more because you know what? I can change my mind. Any questions as I'm gonna get ready to finish this off? Okay. And I'm gonna serve this tonight to my family with an epic salad bar. That's dinner tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add back in my mushrooms. Let's move all this out of the way so you can see me unobstructed here. And I should say, I shared the menu for this week. We're also, just to talk you through what else we're serving, the minutes, we always give you a meal that's like a done for you, one and done. So that minestrone soup I mentioned is gonna be completely done on the weekend, and all you have to do is reheat it during the week. So that's the recipe this week. And then you're also going to prep that quinoa and the buttered chickpeas and cauliflower this weekend as well. So again, you're pretty much reheating it. You're sauteing some kale for that dish. It's super yummy. And then I mentioned this one. You see how easy this is. And then we have our meatball subs, which you can guess are pretty quick to come together. So that's how we simplify dinner and take the thinking out of it. We literally give you a prep plan that says, do step one, do this. While the water's boiling, put this in the oven. While that's in the oven, make your soup and have it simmer while the soup's simmering, and so on and so on. So again, we really try to take the thinking out of it and make it a no-brainer. And we give you a shopping list too. So, you know, it's great to have search the websites for vegan recipes and go through cookbooks, which I love. But if you want to not have to do that while you're pulling your hair out trying to do everything else, we take care of that for you, and then you just have to plug in a couple of recipes. So anyways, go visit us at batchcookingclub.com and you can learn more about our membership. You can try us for $1 for a month. Invite you to do that. Okay, let's see. I am just gonna fold in all this pasta. I hope everything will fit in this pan. It's perfect for the sauce, but we'll see how we can get it. And honestly, if you can get it all in here, which is gonna be no easy feat, it's beautiful just to serve straight to the table in one pot. We're gonna do it, you guys. We're doing it. So I'm gonna put this in here. And you can even, with my family, I have kids who don't necessarily, I have an 11, oh my goodness, he's 12 now, I can't say he's 11, who doesn't necessarily like to mix everything. So I actually will probably leave some of this pasta on the side. So if he wants to do his meatballs and his pasta together without, the sauce, that's fine. But again, ways to try, and I always share these tips when we do our weekly Q&A calls in our member group. I encourage questions and I try to give tips from my personal life as a mom of 3, working mom of 3 with kids with not only eat differently than me, but are also, you know, picky eaters like everybody at that age, right? Or can be, I should say. So then I'm gonna put my meatballs in here. And I don't have any fresh parsley, guys, but I'm all about the presentation. And I would garnish this off with some beautiful fresh parsley. And we can even add some more pasta in here. I was worried it wasn't all gonna fit, but it totally is. So let's just add in a little bit more. And this is how easy this is. This stays for a few days. You can eat it for leftovers. And this recipe serves 4 to 6, depending on how little your kids are. So you got that. So this is, I would love to know what you guys think. Drop an emoji. This comes together so quick when you make the meatballs ahead of time or make it homemade-ish and buy store-bought. Up to you. Our mushroom lentil meatball recipe is up on our site, so I will link to that as well. So if you want to make the whole thing and do the mushrooms on this weekend and then prep this next week, I would love to see you do that. Always please share with #BatchCookingClub. I love to see what you guys are cooking, especially when you make our recipes. It makes my day. So, all right, this is our mushroom lentil stroganoff. I cannot wait to dig into this tonight. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Drop an emoji. Let me know if you think your family would like this recipe. Again, you can visit us at batchcookingclub.com to learn more about who we are. Check out our menu. Every week we post batchcookingclub.com/this-week. And we have an annual membership with several different ways to pay, different payment options. And you can also try us free for a month at for $1. You can try us for $1 for a month at batchcookingclub.com/trial. And we're here every week. I love sharing recipes. Check us out at Batch Cooking Club here on Facebook. If you're not following us, give us a follow. Head over to Instagram and follow us at Batch Cooking Club there. We share other resources, tips, tricks, all sorts of delicious things. And then please also connect with me over at Veegmama, VEEGMAMA, here on Facebook as well as on Instagram, where I share my more personal journey with my own family as a vegan mama with a non-vegan family. Any questions before we sign off? All right, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you will try this recipe, and if you do, please let us know. We will see you back here next Thursday for our live cooking class.